Welcome to this tutorial on using marking workflow, which is a method in the Learning Exchange that can support the integration of the second examiner in the marking process. This approach is available to any program CC or CI if they choose to use it. Using marking workflow allows you to keep students informed of the status of their assignments without releasing grades before your grading reviews have been completed. Marking workflow is only enabled in a Dropbox, so other approaches to marking activities, such as grading within discussion forums using ratings or scales, are not able to be incorporated into this functionality. In this video, we will only focus on the process when marking is being done by a CI and second examiner. In larger courses, the process varies due to the group facilitator role in the marking process. This will be covered in a separate tutorial. The marking workflow feature in the Learning Exchange has 6 pre-designated stages of the marking process, which are used as indicators to students when they check their gradebook or assignment Dropbox. As can be seen from this list, this reflects a process which includes a secondary review. Please note that in order to meet the response times promised in the student charter, the review process in our case refers to the reconciliation process that takes place after both the first and second examiners have completed their grading. This requires that the first and second examiner are grading simultaneously so as not to exceed the time frame for posting grades. If you choose to use all 6 stages, it will be important to explain to students the meaning of each stage so that they fully understand the message. For example, if they see a status such as marking completed, we would not want them to assume the grades are ready to be viewed in the gradebook. To reduce the confusion of the meaning of the status, there are really only 3 stages that are critical to use to keep students aware of where you are in the process. These 3 are what we recommend the CI uses: in marking, in review, and released. Typically, the marking process starts with the student who submits their assignment to the Dropbox. When the submission is made, the system will flag it as not marked. Once the due date has passed, it is time to start the marking process. Using workflow, the course instructor starts the grading process by setting the status for the identified assignments to the in marking state. When this state is set, the system does not allow the student to see what has been entered, so grades can be modified or changed without students seeing those changes. After grades are determined by both the CI and second examiner, the CI will change the status to in review. At this time, the CI and second examiner will meet to reconcile any differences in their individual markings and determine the feedback that will be provided to the student. When this process is complete, the CI will then use the reconciled grades and feedback and enter them into the Dropbox. Once they are entered and verified, the CI will release the grades to the student by setting the workflow state to released. So now that you have a high-level view of the process followed, let's look at how the marking workflow feature is implemented in the Dropbox on the Learning Exchange and how the CI changes the state as the process is undertaken. Marking workflow is enabled at the Dropbox level within a course. So here we have logged into a course where we have several Dropboxes created for activities. For the purposes of this demonstration, I will show you how to enable marking workflow in an existing Dropbox, although you can apply this to the process of creating a new Dropbox as well. Make sure you have turned editing on and then select Edit Settings for the Dropbox you are enabling. Scroll down to the grade component and click it to open it. You will see that one of the last items here is Marking Workflow. Simply select Yes as the setting and save the Dropbox changes. I'm going to select the Save and Display option so it will take me directly to the Dropbox itself so you can see how it works for the marking process. Typically, when you are ready to grade, if you go into the Dropbox, you will see the number of assignments waiting to be graded. In this example, however, we are grading a discussion forum, so there are no submissions. Also, I only have one student enrolled, so you will need to imagine a larger list of students. Once the due date has passed and before any grading has been entered by anyone, as a CI, you will want to set the status to In Marking for all students to indicate that marking has started. To set this initial status, you will click on the View All Submissions button instead of going directly into grading. And as you can see, you are presented the listing of students. When you have more students than are displayed on a single page, the first step you must take is to scroll down and select to View All per page. Make sure no other filters are set on your viewing. When the page is refreshed, then select the tick box at the top to select all students in the Dropbox. Then you scroll down to the bottom of the student list and select Set Marking Workflow State from the drop-down list under the names and click on the Go button. You will be asked to confirm your request, and then a new page will appear identifying a sample of the students you have selected. The total number of students are also displayed, so before you complete this step, make sure this total reconciles with the number of students you have in the course. Scroll down and select the In Marking State from the drop-down list. You can choose to notify students that the marking has begun by selecting Yes. Save your changes, and when the page refreshes, you will see that on the Dropbox listing, the student Dropboxes are now designated as In Marking. If the student checks the Dropbox, that is the status that will be shown to them. This is the same process you will follow to set the status as In Review. So to recap, make sure your page is set to View All and that no other filters have been set. Select all students by clicking the tick box at the top, scroll down and select the Set Marking Workflow State. Answer Yes to go to the workflow selection page, and in this case now, select In Review and save your changes. As a CI, you will be responsible for entering the grades. The grading process will be covered in a separate tutorial, but when all grades have been entered and verified, you will repeat the workflow process to release grades to all students. Once grades are released, it is always a good practice to double check that each student listed shows released under the assignment. If someone was missed because a filter had been set, you can individually change the setting to released within the grading page. To do this, you would select the student who was not released by clicking the grade button under their name. When the grading sheet appears, scroll down and change the workflow status from the pull-down list to released. Simple as that. This completes the review of the technical side of using the marking workflow feature in the Learning Exchange. I hope this overview of this functionality within the Learning Exchange Dropbox has been helpful and informative, and that you embrace moving forward with this technology.